morning, everyone. Welcome to Living Beyond Limits. You all know I'm Reverend Jennifer Spear. We are a part of Centers for Spiritual Living. I welcome you, and those who are joining us online, I welcome you also to our Sunday service. And so let's start this off by reading our mission statement that's on the front of your bulletin. We are a sanctuary where people can discover and reveal the presence of God within their own being and experience their oneness with all life. Through the realization of this inner presence of love and peace, we give way to the evolutionary impulse of the divine and become a beneficial presence in the world. So that's what we are up to here at Living Beyond Limits, is we are giving ourselves the opportunity to move back into that place within ourselves that remembers and knows and senses and feels that the truth is there is only one, that we are all a part of that oneness of life. We are all a part of and connected to each other and of spirit. That means then that if spirit is the very essence of love and peace and wholeness and power, that all of those things are true of us at our core. That what we came here as is that light of the divine, here to reveal itself in this world through our own individual lives, through our activities and all it is that we do. Which means then when the world is not being loving, kind, generous, peaceful, whatever it is, we are in a place of power because we know that already exists within us to actually bring that forward, to bring that into the world in a way that is healing and restorative and beneficial for the whole. And so I thank each and every one of you for answering the call of your own spirit to be walking this path, to be remembering who you are, and to be bringing your light into this world, because I know it is of benefit to everyone. Well, if you didn't know, this coming Thursday is actually National Prayer Day, and it is a day that has been designed for the citizens of our country to pray for our country and its leaders. It actually began in 1775 during the Revolutionary War, and it was signed into law by Harry S. Truman with a joint resolution of Congress in 1952. And it's been enacted ever since then. And so today, we are going to do that. We are going to pray for our country and its leaders, and we're going to talk about prayer, specifically about affirmative prayer, which is what we teach here, a mode of prayer that we teach here at Centers for Spiritual Living. And so before I begin, I just have a question for you. With all the craziness that's going on in the world, do you ever feel helpless? Do you ever feel hopeless? I think most of us do at times. And I think the first reason that we actually feel helpless or hopeless is because we mistakenly think that the world and this world of form is the ultimate power and that it has power over us. That means when we are thinking that the world is the ultimate power, we forget about spirit. We forget that there is an infinite creative intelligence, a boundless force for good that is actually the creative force and the power, and that is ever present. Right here, in every single moment, in every single situation, in every single circumstance, in every person. Did you hear that? In every person and in us. That power is bigger than anything in this world. We forget when we're feeling helpless and hopeless that spirit is the animating force, and that within that boundless one lies infinite potentiality. That means that every single unborn idea, Everything that has yet to come is held in that mind of spirit as potential, but it's already there. That creative field holds the solution to every single issue. It is that infinite intelligence is that thing that makes a tomato seed grow into a tomato plant. It is the thing that is already inborn in birds that tells them to fly in a V formation so that they conserve energy when they're flying. It is the thing that causes whales to migrate, to swim up north to feed in the rich seas, and then to swim down south into the warmer waters to have their babies. It expresses as inventions and as art and as new music, as medical breakthroughs. And it expresses as our ability to think outside of the box, to have new ideas, new insights, new ways of doing things. That is right here. It is in every single moment. It is here, it is there, it is everywhere present. So I think the second thing that causes us to feel helpless or hopeless about the world and the challenges that are going on is that we perceive ourselves to be separate or apart from Spirit. We perceive our lives to be separate from Spirit, that somehow we are separate from Spirit. But in Acts 17:28 it says, "In God we live and move and have our being." In God, not sometimes, all of the time. You know, I heard a story recently about Ernest Holmes, the founder of this philosophy, and Raymond Charles Barker, who was one of his equals and who taught with him. And they were giving a lecture somewhere, and they got into a little bit of an argument when Raymond Charles Barker said, "We are one with God." And Ernest Holmes says, that is not true. Because if we are one with God, that implies two, that there are two separate things. That instead we are one of God. We are one of God. We are an out-picturing, an individuation of that, not separate or apart from it. We are part of it. And so the third thing I think that causes us to feel helpless or hopeless is that we think somehow that that infinite beingness, that infinite potential will or is or can somehow withhold from us. That it can withhold or will withhold the good that we desire to have in our lives. Joel Goldsmith, who was a mystic in the Christian Science tradition, said, "One of my earliest revelations that came to me regarding the nature of God was that it's a waste of time to ask God for anything at any time because God isn't withholding." God is not withholding anything. There is a divine urge to express, and to express more, and to express fully, and to pour itself out into our very beingness and our life. That's the nature of Spirit, to express, to pour itself out. And so, one of the core concepts of Centers for Spiritual Living and our teachings says, in the infinite nature of God, all conceivable good is eternally available, ready to flow into human experience. Through some cosmic process, this flow of good is activated and or increased by human belief, faith, and acceptance. So that means that it's not a matter of Spirit's willingness to give, to express. Instead, it's a matter of our ability to receive. It's about our openness, our receptivity, our willingness to let go of the lesser so that we can experience the greater, our ability to let go of that which is not working. Anybody get stuck and holding on to what isn't working in your life? It's about us letting go of what isn't working so we can open ourselves to a greater possibility. It's about letting go of the problem as a problem. Letting go of owning it. Letting go of thinking that it's attached to you somehow. It's about stepping out of our stuckness in the way that we're seeing things. And so the title of this talk today is Cruising Altitude 20,000 Feet. And I'm talking about elevating our consciousness. I'm talking about rising above what's happening in our lives and in this world of form so that we can perceive something greater. And one of the ways we do that is through prayer. Through prayer, through meditation, through spiritual study. Praying and meditating in spiritual study open our perception to the realization that Spirit is already present, right where we are. It opens our awareness to the fact that Spirit is everywhere present all of the time. And in turn, in that openness, it creates space for Spirit to bring itself into form because we've created the space in it, in our thinking, in our beliefs, in our attitudes. There's a story that says, a young successful couple found their dream home. Shortly after purchasing it, the couple sat at their kitchen table to indulge in a delicious breakfast. The wife looked out the window, and to her surprise, she saw her neighbor hanging dirty laundry on the line. That laundry isn't clean. It's still dirty, she said to her husband. Someone needs to teach her a thing about how to do laundry. A couple days later, the couple sat down at the kitchen table for another meal. The wife saw her neighbor hanging clothes on the clothesline. But this time, something was different. Wow, look at that, said the wife. Her clothes are clean. Someone must have taught her how to wash her clothes. Without raising his head from his plate, the husband kindly responded, Honey, actually, I got up early this morning and washed the window. It's a matter of how we are seeing, what we're perceiving, what we're believing in. So I'm talking about changing our perspective so that we can, and changing the lens through which we view life so that we can see something greater, so that we can see something higher, so that we can see the capital T truth that is unchanging. I know that we want to move through our lives with faith and with trust, trusting that we are okay and that we will be okay. We want to move through our lives with hope that we are actually moving towards something better than what's happening right now. We want to feel secure. And we want to know that when things aren't working, that there is actually a resolution and that we are moving toward that resolution. We want to know that peace will prevail and that love wins. We want to also be able to have a positive impact on this planet and on our environment, on the world and in our lives, and we don't want to be a victim. You all remember the story of the prodigal son. You know, the prodigal son remained prodigal as long as he chose to. When he chose to return to his father's house, his father greeted him with outstretched hands. Spirit was always there, but he had to turn to Spirit in order to be embraced, in order to come home. Ernest Holmes, the founder of this philosophy, said, treatment, affirmative prayer, is not for the purpose of making things happen. It is to provide within ourselves an avenue through which they may happen. That's what we're doing in affirmative prayer. We're creating an opening in us. We're getting the gunk out of the way so that Spirit can flow into us and into our lives unobstructed. So affirmative prayer changes our vibration. It changes our expectations. It changes our attitude. So that what happens is, as we raise our vibration, that which is of a like vibration can come into our lives and take hold. It's like putting on glasses. You know, when you put on glasses, it doesn't change reality. It clears up your blurry vision so that you can actually perceive reality. So that you can clearly see what is already present. And what is already present is Spirit in its fullness at every single moment. So when we do affirmative prayer, for those of you who have not had classes, when we do affirmative prayer, the first thing that we do is we begin by recognizing there is only one power, one presence, one life, one beingness, one force for good that is expressing itself everywhere. There is no spot where God is not. That's what we're doing when we do affirmative prayer. And the second thing that we do in affirmative prayer is we identify with it. We recognize that as spiritual beings, that we are each an out-picturing of that one. That one infinite creative intelligence and power is already within us. It's already who and what we are. Its essence and its nature is the same essence and nature of our spirit. It's the same essence and nature as our lives. It fills our activities, it fills our minds, because as Ernest Holmes said, we are of it. A Hasidic story tells of a rabbi's son who often wandered into the woods. When his father asked the boy why, the boy said, "I go there to find God." His father replied, "But don't you know that God is the same everywhere?" And the boy answered, "Yes, but I am not." Søren Kierkegaard, who was a Danish philosopher, theologian, poet, and religious author of the 1800s, said, "The function of prayer is not to influence God, but rather to change the nature of the one who prays." Praying opens us up to the good. It doesn't change God. We don't need to change God. It changes us. Affirmative prayer changes us because it removes our doubt. It removes our frustration. It removes our fear and our worry and our concern and our feelings of helplessness and hopelessness. It opens us to possibility that's already present. Affirmative prayer enables us to recognize capital R reality. The capital R reality that in this universe, the truth is there is no lack. In the bigger picture, there is no lack. There is opulence, abundance, creativity, intelligence. It helps us recognize that there is no limitation in the big picture, in spirit. There's no limitation. Instead, there's infinite possibilities. There is infinite potential, a creative intelligence that imbues all things, the whales and the birds and all people. Affirmative prayer enables us to recognize that there is no place in spirit for illness, because in spirit there is perfection and wholeness and intelligence and order and harmony. And in that, illness doesn't exist. And we recognize that that harmony and order exists within us because we are of it. And the third thing that we do in affirmative prayer is we remind ourselves in this physical world that what is true in that invisible realm already is here, even though we can't see it yet. But we affirm that it's true. We affirm that it's true because it's all part of the one. It's like a radio station. You know, you tune into the particular radio station that you want to hear. It's always been broadcasting. It's not like you have to get it to broadcast. It's always been broadcasting. You're just tuning in to what it is that you want to hear. If you remember one thing from today's talk, remember that. It's like tuning into a particular radio station that's already broadcasting. All you are doing is tuning into that. That's what you're doing in prayer. That's what you're doing in affirmative prayer. It's just waiting for us to tune in. Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith said, "We pray not to make things happen, but to make God welcome." We pray to make God welcome, the broadcaster that's already happening. So the good is already available. We don't need God or Spirit or the Absolute or the Infinite One, whatever you want to call it. We don't need it to create that for us. We only need to open ourselves, to align our thinking, to align our feelings, to open and align our beliefs and our attitudes. So your call to action this week, then, is to elevate your consciousness above the din of the world, to elevate your consciousness above the problems that you're experiencing in your life, the challenges. I heard recently 2 ministers talking, and they've quit calling them the challenges in your life, and they're calling them the projects. Do you love that? This is the project. This is what I'm working on. I'm shifting this. I'm changing this. To take time daily to remind yourself that Spirit is present in all of it. Right here, right now, whatever's happening, Spirit is present right here, right now. To know that the nature of life is, the nature of Spirit is the nature of your life, because Spirit is expressing itself as life. Know that good is ready to flow into your life, and accept that as so. And as a result of that, you'll be walking in faith. You'll be knowing that everything is working toward good, and you'll be being a beneficial presence in your own life and for all of humanity. And so we are going to do a chamber of prayer right now. And what a chamber of prayer is, it means that we are all praying at the same time. And so I'm going to invite all of you to join in praying in whatever form or fashion works for you. Or if you don't want to pray, to visualize, to imagine, to speak affirmations about what it is that you want, to create the vibration in yourself of what you want for our country and for our leaders. And so I'm going to ask you just for a second to think about what is it that you want for this country and our leaders. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What is it that you want to experience? And so I do have a couple of invitations for you. One is today's the day to bring your items for our Mother's Day outreach that we are doing for the women at Long Beach Women's Shelter. So if you brought them, they can go on the back table there. If you forgot them, talk to Barbara Conant. Barbara, raise your hand if you need to make arrangements with her. May 5th, which is this Tuesday, we are having a women's movie festival where we are going to Joy Jane's house and watching several shorts that are movies that have been written and directed by women, about women, starring women, and we'll watch them and talk about them a little bit. So if you are thinking that you're going to go, will you raise your hand just so she has an idea of how many people are going to show up? Good, awesome. So 5 p.m. on the 5th. We'll see you there. We are going to, normally on the 5th Sunday of the month, we do some sort of an outreach. And this is funny because I've always been really insistent that we do it on Sunday, so we have somewhere to go on Sunday. And they've talked me into doing it on Saturday this month. So we're going to join in a beach cleanup at Winipero Beach from 9 to 11 on Saturday, May 30th. And that's still going to be in lieu of having a Sunday service. So put that on your calendars. We hope to see you on Saturday instead of Sunday. It's the last weekend of the month. Our Sunday talks are available online. We invite you to check in on Meetup and to like us on Facebook and share those posts and share the talks when they get posted and to follow us on Instagram. So just to let you know, July 17th, we're going to be having a fundraising concert with Harold at Joy Jane's in her backyard that Sharon Baker and Joy are sponsoring and putting together, so that'll be fun. And Carol Borwick. So to close, I invite you to repeat after me, good fills my life now.
Good fills my life now.
I recognize it. I savor it. I love it. And I live it. And so it is.